So now I'm gonna read the letter. Well, we are going to read the letter. Compañeras and compañeros, sisters and brothers in the struggle. Through these words and the efforts of London Mexico Solidarity to unite our dignified struggles, receive a hold from Atenco, which means the land on the edge of the water in Nahuatl. Our fight in defense of the land began on the 22nd October 2001, which is to say that we have been fighting for 15 years against an international airport that the last three Mexican governments of Vicente Fox, Felipe Calderón, and now Enrique Peña Nieto have insisted on building over sacred lands that were previously the favorite garden of Nezahualcóyotl, a philosopher, warrior, and poet in pre-Columbian Mexico. Yes, it is possible to overcome those who are above, and they are not invincible when those from below are capable of creating the necessary strength to make them respect us. As an organization, we have decided to keep on fighting, as victory is not just something that is handed over. Furthermore, we made a promise to support our sisters and brothers who are also fighting. We understood that in addition to defending our land, we have to reconstruct from the bottom up a community and a country that we want to be part of. It's true that things were not easy, but it was nothing compared to the horror that was unleashed on the community in 2006 in the middle of a federal election, when the wounded and defeated beasts took revenge in a disgraceful way to make an example of us, to punish those towns who were rebelling and that continued to disobey in the face of injustice. We instead obeyed our own dignity and memory. The repression in Atenco by military police on the 3rd and 4th of May 2006 resulted in the imprisonment of 207 people, the sexual abuse and torture of dozens of women, the murder of 2 people, brutal forced entry into people's homes, as well as political persecution. It was a warning too from the oligarchy of our country, who told us that in the future they would not permit protests without criminalizing those who protested. You should know that things in the motherland of Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa are in a critical stage. And yet, Enrique Peña Nieto, the same individual who admits responsibility for ordering the repression in Atenco in May 2006, was rewarded in 2012 with the presidency. In 2014, Enrique Peña Nieto returned to restart the airport project, but this time with new strategies. In the last few months, from April until now, our dignified campesinos have resisted a new attack to rob us of our lands.
We are conscious that repression can escalate, and we are the last ones who would wish for another Red May, like we had in 2006. The conditions we live in today are complex, after all that has happened in the past 15 years. However, for us it is inconceivable to hand over our Mother Earth. It is inconceivable to give ourselves over to defeat, when we love life and we refuse to live submissively, enslaved to a false development. We want to live in peace. We want our children to have the possibility of and joy of being able to plant and care for trees, and rows of corn, beans, etc., and to be able to access water as a right, and to have the freedom that we are granted as the owners and guardians of the land. Despite the many months they've spent constructing it, the deadly airport is destined to succumb, because the true calling of these lands, which previously were the great lake of Texcoco, are meant to be filled with water again. We, like you, know that solidarity is a moral force, that in difficult moments is capable of lifting us up and making the impossible possible, and so we affirm the dignity that you have shown in denouncing the catastrophe that these deadly capitalist projects bring with them in every corner of the globe. The struggle that you have undertaken strengthens our spirits, because then we know that we are much more than 2 peoples resisting and claiming the dignity of life. We are enormously grateful for you to speak of our struggle, and we want you to know that we will also talk about what is happening on this side of the world in Mexico. Despite the attempt to hide the miseries and injustices of countries in the so-called First World, the dignity of sisters and brothers like you uncovers the truth of what is actually happening. We know that you have protested against the company of Norman Foster, the architect who is the son-in-law of the Mexican magnate Carlos Slim, and this gives us courage to continue fighting. You can be sure that links of solidarity extend from these shores to where you are also demanding what is just. Through the different activities we will organize in Mexico, we will say that there are more sisters and brothers who are also fighting against airplanes, and above all, fighting against the brutality that the wealthy elite want to impose. To all of you, we send you our gratitude and a hug of resistance. From Atenco, Mexico, we demand that the Mexican government halts its plans to loot our lands. We demand respect for the legal processes and the rule of law through which we're defending our land. We demand that the repression against citizens who refuse to allow the buying and selling of their lands ceases. We demand justice for Javier and Alexis, the two teenagers who were murdered by the military police in May 2006. And we demand justice for our compañeros who suffered sexual abuse and torture, and whose cases are now with the Inter-American Court. Finally, we call on international solidarity from all those countries that President Enrique Peña Nieto might visit, and we call on them to condemn him for the various crimes against humanity that he has committed since he was governor in 2005, and that he continues to commit as president today.
Fuera Peña Nieto.
Peña Nieto out.
Tierra y vida sí, aviones y despojo no.
Yes to land and life, no to planes and the plundering of land.
Vivos se los llevaron, vivos los queremos.
Alive they took them, alive we want them back.
Zapata vive, la lucha sigue.
Zapata lives, the fight continues.
Frente de Pueblos en Defensa de la Tierra, 1 de octubre de 2016.
From the Front of People in Defense of the Land, on this 1st of October 2016.
Atenco vive, la lucha sigue.